Howdy y'all, it's Chris with Shell Fitness. Favorite chair and belt buckle. I'm trying to bring in a belt buckle dance. Let me know what you guys think about this. Maybe it'll be in gyms throughout the nation. Today we're going to be talking about rowing and all the mechanics at the shoulder, the scapula, the core, the muscles engaged. Before we do that, make sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to become a great trainer, San Diego, December. Los Angeles will be early January 2020. It's where great trainers are made because you get to practice what you preach. You got to work out daily. You got to learn in-depth anatomy. But you got to learn by training other people, not classmates, clients. And that's what's really going to separate you from the clusterfuck of trainers out there who call themselves professionals, but they just get a simple certification and they quit within the first year, as the average trainer does. So let's take a closer look into rowing mechanics. Pull back. So what is the humerus doing? Let's take a look at the shoulder first. Remember, there's 4 joints. The AC, acromioclavicular joint, which is the front part. You have the sternoclavicular, SC. On the back, you have the scapulothoracic, ST joint. Then you have the one with the greatest range of motion, which is the glenohumeral. So of those 4, the main one is going to be your glenohumeral joint. The humerus is going to be in the sagittal plane extending, coming back. Flexion, forward, extension, back. And the scapula is going to be coming away. Think of a row, R, for retraction. So when you pull back, your scapulas are retracting. There's a lot of different techniques and form when it comes to rowing. Generally, anytime you pull, it's your back and your biceps. So the elbow is going to be flexing, your biceps are going to be engaged. It depends on your hand position, neutral, pronated, supinated, and what the humerus is doing, whether if it's extending or in the transverse plane, horizontally abducting, the scapulas are adducting. So this is how I like to teach the row. First concern is what the shoulder is doing. I want to avoid a glenohumeral glide. Besides that, your form is probably fine. I just don't want to see this dip forward. Anterior, this is posterior, so anterior glenohumeral is that joint, glide. We want to stay away from that. I like the rowing machine, the cables, because you can feel it in your core a lot. For a lot of our clients, we're trying to strengthen our core as well, and I like to induce that force production, but we'll go over the dumbbell row as well. So you're here, your pelvis is pointing straight, and you're coming right back. There, let your scapulas come off the back. I see too many trainers telling them to lock it down and just do this. I want it to scap off the back, and I want it back, down, all the way off, and then here. So if you come down further, what are you doing to the elbow? You're not flexing it as much. So then your lats will be working. So when you do a more just put it in your back pocket or put it down to your side, you're going to feel it a lot more in your lats. So you got to ask yourself, what is the purpose of this exercise? It's for your back and your biceps, right? So I prefer doing more elbow in the beginning because then you can lift more weight. So here, this is how I would do sagittal based, maybe for 2 or 3 sets. Then I would lower the weight, and then I would do limited elbow work and just kind of isolate the lats. And then we have transverse, which is horizontal abduction. So let's take a look at the muscles. When you extend, primarily your lats, you also have your pectoralis sternal region. You're going to have your triceps. You're also going to have your posterior deltoid. You got your terest major. When the lats work, the terest major does, the infraspinatus, the terest minor. There's a good amount of muscles that are working when you extend. Now when you horizontally abduct, the bicep isn't working nearly as hard as it is with the row here. The bicep contracts when it flexes in this range of motion very well, in this line of pull, sorry. When you move the arm and you abduct it into the frontal plane, the line of pull is just altered, so it's not optimizing the recruitment of the fibers. Here you're going to get more recruitment, here you're going to get less. So when you do a row here, it's a lot more lats and you can do more weight. That's the tension portion. When you go horizontally, horizontal abduction, you're going to be getting a lot more mid-back and you're going to have a greater retraction of the scapula. So when your scapulas come back, it's retraction. When they go forward, it's protraction. Bench press, protraction, row, retraction. Middle rhomboids, middle traps, lower traps, rhomboid major and minor, and your posterior deltoid. So your mid-back is working a lot more. So if you're one of these individuals that has this anterior position and you have this invisible lat syndrome, I'm gonna suggest maybe 2 sets here, because we gotta get that force production. It makes you feel better, here you go, and then do 3 sets pronated. And when you pronate, you're going, pronation, supination, when you pronate, you're gonna get the middle trap, lower trap, 1 muscle, 3 parts, upper, middle, lower, and then you're gonna, underneath those, have your rhomboids, majors, and minor. So that's the difference in the mechanics when it comes to the cable. Then when you do a dumbbell, this is always funny because you're gonna have 1,000 people tell you 1,000 different right ways to do it. And the main concern I have is if you come too close and you get this impingement, this anterior glenohumeral glide. I prefer going wide because you can lift more weights. When it comes to optimizing hypertrophy, tension is the main driver. So when I go wide, I can lift more. So I'm gonna go here, neutral chin, tuck back, going right back. Now you'll see some people come close, which is gonna get your core, which is fine. You'll see some people kind of go back up here and then they'll put their hand in their back pocket. And then again, we can go pronated. I'm gonna be lopsided now because of those reps. But the pronated grip, middle part of your back, you're gonna be strongest here and wide. And then when you go close, you're working your core more. So which way is right? It depends, change it up. One day do dumbbells and go heavy. Use a dead stop lift too. I see too many people get this thoracic extension. They go here and they go. I prefer dead stop. So I get heavy weight, like 500 pounds, and I come up. Notice how I tuck back, keep my elbows pointing forward. And I take away the momentum. Optimize force production. I like the sagittal neutral grip first. 2 or 3 sets of that. Get in the strength range if you've been training for a while. Next group of rows, maybe you come to the cables and you go pronated, get your mid back. Maybe you shoot for 8 to 12 reps. Then come back to the dumbbells or do bent over rows or a bent over fashion with the dumbbell here. And get 15 to 20. So you got your strength range, hypertrophy, got your endurance, inducing metabolic stress at the end. Damage if you want to slow down the eccentric aspect. Oh my God, you picked up the weight with a bent back. As long as you brace your core, you're fine. People freak out on Instagram and YouTube. Watch, I won't die. I didn't die. Oh my God, that's so cool, right? I braced my core. It's fine. Stop treating the body like it's a freaking fragile little unicorn. It's fine. It's strong. So let's go over the row again. Sagittal plane. The humerus is extending, which is primarily your lats. Transverse, horizontal abduction, which is primarily your mid-back. Your back and bis are still working here and here because of elbow flexion. If you limit elbow flexion, it's more lats. More lats. The lats, remember, they do 7 things. Die hard. Ready for this one? Depression, D. I, internally rotate. E, they're going to extend. H, horizontally abduct. A, adduct. R, retract. And the last D, downwardly rotate. So the lats are a fascinating muscle. They do a lot of cool stuff. In the sagittal plane, primarily your lats, it's going to be your agonist. And then the scapulas are retracting. So a row extension can be horizontal abduction. You'll have retraction at the scapula. The elbows are flexing. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube. This is a tutorial on how to do a cable or dumbbell row.